Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Marsh to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Do you have the minutes from the special meeting?
Oh.
What's that?
I'll try to get them.
Okay.
I have to print them out.
We'll need to approve the minutes from the
We
special
can
meeting.
do it in,
What's that?
can we do that?
After break?
After 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Everybody had a chance to review the agenda? Commissioner Marsh, is there any additions?
No.
Commissioner Dalzell?
No.
Commissioner Pelton?
No.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Nope.
The only thing I was asked to add was the audit report. Entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Dalzell, second by Commissioner Pelton to approve the agenda with the addition. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carried. On to the road department with David.
Thank you. I guess happy 4th, happy Independence Day before I get started. Manning could also celebrate their independence of Jake breaks in town. So I think that thanks to Ross Sundin, the signs are up now. So they should be golden to go there. Carl, if you wouldn't mind coming up, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Be pretty brief today. Let's jump into 92nd Avenue. The county has purchased mitigation bank credits for this project, and the invoicing has been completed. So we do have the 404 permit for that project. So all that's left is to finalize the plans and get the easements taken care of on that, and then we should go to bid. That one at this point in the year, I don't think would be a completion date this year. They'd possibly be able to get started late in the year, but I don't think there's anything that one would get done this year. 100th Ave, 404 permit's been secured. We are working on final easement negotiations and utility conflict resolution for quite a few oil and gas pipelines along that project. I did have a meeting scheduled last week with One Oak for their lines, and I drove all the way up there for them to forget they had the meeting. So it's rescheduling for after the 4th. I do anticipate getting that one to bid though, and that is only about a 1 mile, so that shouldn't have any issue getting that done this year. 12th Street, working on the 404 permit. There are a couple cultural issues along the project, so we're working our way through those. We will do some easement negotiations on that soon. 16th Street, a lot of the same. We're working on the permit for that one. There is a significant cultural site on that project that we need to work through with SHPO. Any questions so far? On the 2025 projects, we do have all the field surveys completed, including the environmental and cultural. We have done some initial coordination with the landowners. I did receive a couple of the reports for the wetlands and have requested jurisdictional determination for those. And we are working on starting our grading design for those. So, on construction projects, the Golf Course Road bid opening was held at the May 15th meeting and was awarded to Central Specialties. We are targeting a pre-construction meeting date after the 4th of July. That's what CSI had requested. I do anticipate construction to begin later on in the summer. I have reached out to the contractor for a date and schedule. I have not received that yet for a date for the pre-con or an initial schedule, but I'll let you guys know when we do have that date, so road portfolio can attend, and when I have an initial work schedule for them, we'll have a better idea of kind of how that's going to happen. So, any questions?
I think we're good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Come back next time with all your fingers, okay? It's 4th of July. Don't blow your fingers off. Darren, would you mind?
I would not mind. Am I loud and clear for you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Good morning, commissioners.
Morning.
I have a couple updates here as well. We'll start with 2nd Street Northwest and 84th Avenue Northwest. So the contractor continues to work on the project, and they had started on the western edge of 2nd and they're going east. That continues. If you remember at the last commission meeting, they had hit some pretty significant rock. Well, they're through that and they haven't hit anything additional. So maybe we're in the clear as far as an additional reimbursement on that. They have been a little bit slowed by rain and wet weather. But they're progressing, and it looks quite different out there. We had our weekly construction meeting just yesterday with Commissioner Pelton, Superintendent Lim, a couple other staff, and my staff, and it's pretty interesting to see what's going on out there. If you guys are in that neck of the woods, check it out. It's going to be quite different. The landscape is definitely changing, but the biggest issues on that project right now are just pay requests that need to be reimbursed. They have pay request number 1 in the amount of $159,498.04. Maybe we'll do these individually. We would recommend payment of pay request number 1. I'm not sure if a motion needs to be made.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we pay request number 1 and number 2.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the Great Tech. Yes.
Great Tech Construction.
There's a second.
Second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Dalzell to approve pay estimate number 1.
And 2.
Yeah, and 2. But pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $159,498.04, and pay request number 2 in the amount of $282,783.33 to Gray Tech Construction on 2nd Street and Northwest and 84th Avenue Northwest. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Marsh? Yes. Commissioner Dalzell?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Biener?
Yes, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to go through those separately or not, so thank you for covering both of them. I'm not sure if I have anything more to talk about on that project. Excuse me. Does anybody have anything else to add? Oh, I do have one more thing. David, I did give you those hard copies for Chairman Biener to sign. If you'd like to do that too, at your break, that's fine too. But anybody have anything additional on that project?
Oh, we're good.
Okay, moving along. So 2024 projects. So if you recall, on 117th, we were waiting for lawyer concurrence on that last easement. Diane did call me last week and said that it's signed and it is in the mail. We had mailed it to her and given her a postage paid return envelope. So it hasn't gotten on our hands yet, but it got mailed early this past week here. So we're still on target for our July 17th bid opening that we have scheduled at 10 a.m. Mountain. So on 14th Street, we continue to meet with the remaining landowners in order to secure right of way. And we had filed for our Corps permit. I think we're about almost 60 days into that. I got an email from the Corps that said it looks like they were fine with it. They had given everything to the State Historical Office about a week and a half ago, telling them that they had 30 days to make any comments or questions. But we hope to get that permit shortly here too, and then we'll advertise and open that project as well here. 119th, we're at approximately 90% complete on working through the remaining cultural items, while also modifying our design to not interfere with that pipeline crossing. Once these items are resolved, we'll begin collecting the right-of-way on that. And then 99th, we're still hammering through some pretty significant cultural impacts on that project. So those are the 2024 projects. Did anybody have any questions on any of them?
No.
Very good, very good. Our next topic that we have is the Manning project. So we did have our surveyors go out and meet with Holly and Manning, and those two got together and they surveyed in and actually physically shot in all the known appurtenances, valves, any other water infrastructure that they could have as on a formal plan set, so we could actually use that and incorporate that into the design. Holly had said that letters are being written at this point and going to be sent to all the citizens in Manning just to make sure that they're on board with the project, and then we'll grant the needed right of way for what will eventually be Southwest's project. So other than that, we just continue plugging away on this. And Commissioner Marsh, I'm not sure if you have anything further to add on that.
Yes, Darren, those letters went out. We're actually getting some signed letters back. So they all went out certified to make sure everybody gets one.
That's great. Good, good. Has the overall tone been pretty positive? Everybody's pretty good on everything?
Yes.
That's great news. Very good. Okay. Any further questions or comments on Manning?
No.
Thank you very much. Okay, and so then final, we have our 2025 projects. Last time I was here, we had 7th Street, both areas, the 101st to 97th and 97th to 94th. We had all of our permissions for surveying and cultural and wetland. We had secured those, so we've been collecting data on that. And the one hang up that we had was on 3rd Street. We couldn't track down a landowner. Superintendent Lim and myself physically went out there and tried to meet with her and left a note on her door, and she didn't have it. But I finally tracked her down here this last Friday, working at Dollar General, and we got permission on that. So we're all cleared to go on that. So we'll begin collecting our survey, cultural, and wetland data on that project as well, too. So everything is moving forward. Any questions on those?
No.
Well, very good. Well, that is all I have, other than wishing you all a great Independence weekend.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Thanks, Darren.
weekend.
You too,
Thank you,
Darren.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Mr. Cattermas, you on?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we'll start with 109th. Still working on those businesses, kind of nudged them over the last 2 weeks. Haven't heard anything back except from the one who has signed an agreement. After we get the businesses on board, we'll revisit the private landowners. Any questions on that one? Okay, on 82nd, sorry. Okay, on 82nd, designers continue to work on the design surface and are finishing up our culvert review, approach review. Bid dates for the south portion are likely pushing to late fall. Negotiation with landowners are continuing. On 26, talked to Mr. Halibichuk last week, and he said he's likely pushing his anticipated start date to August. I'm going to try to get a schedule from him before the next meeting so we know when our pre-con is and get everybody invited. So we're looking forward to that one. And on 27th, all the legals and vouchers have been sent to all the landowners. We're still missing about half of them, though some are out-of-staters who have verbally complied. We did apply for our 404 permit and have been assigned a project manager from the Corps. We're already working with them to help the process along. Any questions on 27th? Or any of them?
Nope.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good holiday.
Thank you very much.
You too. Mr. Wood. Let me hide James down here in the corner so we can't see him, and then you're good to go.
Morning.
Good morning.
So we got a few pay estimates to present. First one we have is on 7th Street or Charlie's Pass. It's pay estimate number 13 actually. And the dollar value is $48,457.59, which we would recommend payment in that amount to Martin Construction.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we pay request number 13 of $48,457.59 to Martin Construction.
Is there a second? Motion made by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Kleeman to approve pay estimate number 13 in the amount of $48,457.59 to Martin Construction on 7th Street, Charlie's Pass. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Marsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Biener?
Yes, motion carried.
So just kind of a quick update on that project. There was a conflict with that One Oak line, and they started lowering it or abandoning that line last week. They're almost done with it. We're expecting it to be done this week with One Oak. So that's held up the contractor just a little bit, but beginning next week, they should be able to be free and clear, and they don't have much left. So I'm hoping Martin Construction in the next week to 2 weeks is probably going to have their stuff done. So it's moving along fairly well. Just a little slight delay with that One Oak line, but it's being addressed and resolved. Couple other projects on 25th Street with Wilson Construction. I'm going to kind of lump those two projects together. One is that grading project and one is the box culvert project. He's going to start next week, sometime probably early next week. On that project, we don't have a pay estimate because he hasn't started yet, but we expect construction to start fairly soon. 91st Avenue, we do have a pay estimate for that project. That's being built by Schwartz Construction. It's pay estimate number 3, if I remember right.
Yeah.
The amount is $135,096.63, which we are recommending payment to Schwartz Construction for that project.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we pay estimate number 3 in the amount of $135,096.63.
For a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Marsh to approve pay estimate number 3 in the amount of $135,096.63 to Schwartz Construction on CP-132106.1 91st Avenue. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Marsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Biener?
Yes, motion carried.
So that project is kind of wrapping up also. They've probably got a couple weeks worth of grading to do. That's separate from topsoil respread and seeding, but in a couple weeks, I think the road is going to be roughed in. They also have, on that 2-mile project, the contractors responsible for the gravel. So that's going to be after that fact, but in the next couple weeks, that project should be sort of roughed in and look like mostly a finished roadway on that project. Next pay estimate to have is for 110th Avenue, northwest of Killdeer. That project's being built by Jensen Brothers Construction. It is the first one, pay estimate number 1. The amount is $193,373.21, which we are recommending payment to Jensen Brothers for that project.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $193,373.21 to Jensen Brothers.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Dolzall to approve pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $193,373.21 to Jensen Brothers Construction on 110th Avenue. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Marsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Biener?
Yes, motion carried.
Okay. Next little update is 114th, which is in the New Raddick area. From New Raddick going north, it's actually west of New Raddick, but that's the 7-mile project. Bronco Brothers was the low bidder. We had a pre-construction meeting on Monday. They're looking at starting mid to late July. It'll probably be late July for that project, but no pay estimate. They haven't started yet, but in the next couple of weeks, I would expect they'll be starting. Some of our design projects we're coordinating with SHPO and some landowners on getting some easements. I got about 3 or 4 projects that we're trying to prioritize that we've either cleared the hurdle of the core permit or SHPO clearance and just collecting a few remaining easements. Some of our 2025 projects, we're hoping to get bid this fall for early or potentially early starting date for those projects next year. Bid them out, October type of time frame for next year's construction. That miscellaneous, nothing's really up to date on that one. But just as a reminder, the county was awarded funding for the environmental work and a little bit of the engineering work on 92nd Avenue, which is that culvert that got washed out June of last year, whenever that was. But they honestly didn't give you a whole lot of flex funding, but should pay for the environmental work anyway. So that is kind of underway. It's the same thing. We have to get the core permit. So it's not going to be a fast process, but it's a fairly minimal project. So we don't anticipate any real problems, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. Okay. And that's all I had for updates.
Thank you very
Unless the
much.
commission has any questions, I'm probably good. So
Thank you.
okay.
Appreciate it. One thing while we're kind of in Jeremy's job that I wanted to bring up here is 110th. Here, I sent you guys kind of McKinsey Electric's relocation agreement for 110th. Again, they got poles there that we need to move. They did just put a new line in just recently, very, very recently. So moving is pretty costly. So like I said in the email, we'd like to see if we can split that cost and help each other out. That total cost came to, I think I got it up there, $205,500.
Is that the cost, the total project?
No, that's
cost?
our cost.
That's our cost.
Yep. That would be what I would recommend, I guess, that we would share with McKinsey Electric on that relocation.
Did you want, yeah, if you want to come up, Vince, if you have something to add?
I don't have too much to add, but I would like to give you all the opportunity to ask any questions on this project or this cost share. Just to give you some background information, we have an existing power line on the west side of the road that's being worked on. Our line is outside of what McKinsey Electric recognizes as the 33 feet statutory right-of-way that the county has. It's within 75 feet of the road center. Our intention is to relocate that line outside of the newly acquired 60-foot right-of-way that you all have. And the reason for such a high cost is the conflict of not being inside of the new right-of-way and not being further into landowners' property. And this is just one example of utility relocations the challenges that we're facing is keeping our utility lines outside of 75 feet, which is in many cases is impossible to do, and not putting power lines outside of 75 feet from roads. Landowners just don't want power lines that far into their property. So that's kind of the challenge. And I also wanted to note too that this, it's a case by case, right? We're not asking for cost share for every single road project that we do. In fact, we're doing one road project right now in Dunn County where we're tackling the same issue. Our existing line on this other project is within, it kind of goes in and out of the county's right of way. So we're bearing full cost responsibility in that. So this is not an expectation for every single road project. This is just kind of a case by case.
Any questions?
Yeah. And then, I mean, for the record, like I said, we're just trying to work together here. We do, Rough Rider does some work too, and we do some cost share with them as well. So.
And they've been a lot better about getting poles moved for us, like over on Second Street, that other project?
Yeah, on Second Street, there was a couple of hiccups. We were able to get most of those poles moved out of the way before grading got there. And then with the holiday week this week, we paused on that project, but we're going to finish that one next week. So, we are doing our best to make sure that we're not slowing down construction for your guys' project. But I think overall, I think coordination from the design process to construction time has been improved over the last year or so. And we hope that that continues.
Good deal.
Chairman, I move that we go ahead and pay the $205,500 to help Mackenzie Electric on their line move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pelton, seconded by Commissioner Dalzell to approve $205,000 and $205,500 to Mackenzie Electric for the cost share of moving poles on 110th Avenue. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, where do we put our fences at? 65 feet? No?
It's 60.
60. We put those at 60 feet and you're putting your line at 75?
60.
You're
Well,
putting it at 60.
we would like to put it at 60. Well, in this case, we didn't get permission to put poles further into the field than they already are. They're about 35 feet out, so it's actually going to be an underground line. But our intention was to put them at the fence, like you said.
Okay, that's
But here, sorry, Commissioner. But the one of the challenges that we have though is that when we're going over these cost shares and who's responsible, we've been given the guidance from you all that it's 75 feet, right? Anything within 75 feet, you're claiming that we are responsible for relocating. So that's the challenging part. So you put your fence out at 60 feet or 65, wherever you put it. We can put our poles right on the other side of that fence, but if there's another road project and those poles are in the way, it's still within 75 feet. So do we have to pay to relocate it again? And that's the challenge that we're facing. Not getting landowner permission to put them out that far. I don't know if that answers your question or not, Mr. Kleeman.
yeah. I like the idea that we put our fence at 60 feet. That's where the poles are.
Yes.
Because anybody that in the hay field or grain field, that's wasted. You can't get in there with equipment. So I don't know, maybe we need to change our policy that if we're gonna fence at 60.
We're just going with century code on that. It says that anything within that 70, new lines within that 75 feet are their responsibility. I could bring the century code. I don't know. Can't quote it off the top of my head.
And I think we've been a lot better. We're meeting with them about where our roads are going, and if they tell us where their new lines are going, we can, we're doing a little better job of communicating.
Yeah, and it's not every case is not an issue, but times that it has been an issue. It doesn't make financial or business sense for us to spend $400,000 to relocate a line back within 75 feet if we're still going to bear the cost of replacing that line again, right? Our goal would be to relocate the line once and never have to relocate it again.
I understand that. As a rancher, I understand the part that putting that post out there.
And again, I guess this is why I think it's good to help share the cost of this too, for the same reason,
I have no problem with the cost. I just, like I said, the posts in the middle of a field.
Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Marsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Dalzell?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beaner?
Yes, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Happy 4th.
Yeah, he's got
Do
one
they-
more coming
they
back.
got-
So do you want to do them real
You
quick?
have time to just do that other
Utility
permit
permit.
quick
Yeah.
while you're here? Okay.
Okay, so Mackenzie Electric has a overhead utility permit for a single phase project in section 14 from 14 to 13 in Township 146 North, Range 91 West. This is a single phase overhead line crossing 79th Avenue Northwest in Dunn County. Our vertical overhead clearance over the road will be about 30 feet. And this is to provide power for a cell tower on the east side of the road there.
Just for location, that's north of Fry's on our project we just did there.
And then the poles, the existing pole that we're taking off from on the west side of the road is 75 feet out. So we won't have anything within the right of way other than the overhead crossing. And then our new pole will be on the east side of the road, also 75 feet out.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the utility crossing for McKenzie on 79th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Overhead.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolzall, seconded by Commissioner Pelton to approve the utility permit line crossing 79th Street for McKenzie Electric. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vin. Mr. Chairman, you mind, I got one more utility permit while we're on there.
Yep.
The other one I got is One Oak's gonna want a 20-inch poly line under 113th Avenue. That's up by Hoots's and Olson's up in that area. I would recommend approval of that 20-inch poly line from One Oak.
Chairman, I move that we go ahead and approve the permit for One Oak.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pelton, seconded by Commissioner Marsh to approve the utility permit for One Oak. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. You have anything else, David?
I do. I got one thing, a topic here. Mike Schulmeyer would like to do a little bit of work on the section line there on 8th Street, just east of 101, just east of that tower there. You can see I got it in red. And then I think, whoops. And I got one more. That's just zoomed in to show you what it is now. Just kind of a 2-track there section line. What he would like to do is basically kind of cut some ditches and throw that up on the road. Not really. He doesn't. There's nobody living back there, so he doesn't really want to even put surfacing on it. So he just kind of wants to build it up. There is one hill he kind of wants to cut down a little bit and use that in a spot or two to raise the road so that there isn't any puddling water and stuff like that on his road. I did tell him one thing he would need was permission from the adjoining landowners. He's well on the way with that. He's got one sitting here already with me with that landowner signature. I don't know. I did have him fill out a improvement section line permit, but basically, he wouldn't be following much of those standards at all because it's not, like I said, it's not really a road. He just wants to improve it just a little bit so he can get down it. So I would see if you guys, I would recommend that you just kind of approve that with the condition that he gets the rest of the landowner signature.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the improvements on the Mike Schulmeyer section line road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolzall, second by Commissioner Kleeman to approve the section line improvement. What is it, 8th Street?
8th Street, yep.
8th Street.
On 8th.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, Dave, are you gonna kind of watch that? Make sure that,
Yeah, I have total intentions to kind of watch it and then towards the end kind of go through it and make sure that like he doesn't have any steep drop offs or anything and the drainage is fine. I met with him yesterday and kind of went over a few things. So
What about by accident if he gets off the right of way
um
onto the other property or?
well my whole thing with him, that's why I kind of making him get the other landowners permission stuff so that they know, and that would, I guess, wouldn't be part of our deal at that point.
So he's not going to start till he gets everybody's signature.
That's correct.
what,
I won't hand him over that permit till I get the other one.
Mr. Chairman, what's our liability on that?
I don't know. I guess one of my concerns is to make sure he stays on the right of way.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets off that, we are liable and we're going to be buying right away.
As long as he's got permission from the other landowner. Does he have to have that surveyed or anything?
I didn't have it in there. We could make that a condition if you'd like.
Mr. Chairman, I think if the road goes through and everything, I think we should put up a minimum maintenance sign on that. Because it is a section line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that's still county liability, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Mr. Sundin's back there. I guess we could ask him if that's legal or not, or what we're doing.
Waiting for that question. So section lines are under your jurisdiction, as you know. If you give Mike the ability to go in and improve your section line, he basically becomes an agent of the county. You're responsible if he makes an error out there and somebody gets hurt as a result. So we're responsible for his negligence. Be wise to have Dave supervise the project to make sure that those issues of concern are addressed. And I agree with you, Bob, that noting that as a minimum maintenance road is a wise thing to do, because that would eliminate our liability going forward if something should occur and there's some negligence in maintaining that road, or if there's something in the design or the build out that would create a claim against the county.
So David, you said he's not going to put any surfacing on it.
That's correct.
Could that become an issue even if we have minimum maintenance on it? If somebody goes down there and gets stuck or runs off the road, or?
If you declare it as a minimum maintenance road and it's signed properly, that should eliminate any liability concerns that you have.
Should we sign that minimum maintenance while he's working on it, or wait till he's done?
That would be entirely up to you. I think if you designate it as such, you should sign it as such. The earlier the better.
Okay. Okay.
I'm okay with the road idea, but as long as if he's going to go off the easement, then we need a written.
He doesn't plan on, but yeah.
Well, but
yeah.
If it's not surveyed, that's pretty easy to do.
Yep.
Chairman, if I might, I'd also suggest that maybe the motion that's on the table be amended to include a condition that he doesn't move forward until he does have all of the signatures that you're wanting him to obtain before with the project. As it stands, I don't think the motion include that condition.
With the with the remaining.
I would add that to the
signatures.
motion. Yeah.
Yep. Is there a second on the amendment?
Second.
Amendment made by Commissioner Dalzell, second by Commissioner Pelton, to add that the project cannot be started until all easements are approved. Huh? I'm sorry.
You gotta vote on the amendment.
Voted on the amendment, then the motion.
Mhm.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Now on to the actual motion. That was the first motion that was made. Is there any more discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. If there's nothing else for me, that's all I got.
Thank you. Gary?
Denise.
Morning, girl.
Morning.
Good morning.
Is this the same? I think that's it.
Situational
Great.
awareness. I'll sit down first. The record, I'm Sherry Adams with Southwestern District Health Unit, and I have Denise Brew as your board representative to the health unit. Just an FYI, I gave this opioid settlement dollars. You guys put in to get the opioid settlement dollars. The amount that you guys put in was 11,008. Well, the amount you got was 11,892. The county of Association of Counties and that group, Aaron is on that board for the opioid settlement, and that money has to be funneled through the health unit. We aren't necessarily the ones going to get the money. We are just the funneling people. I'm not sure, I guess, to make you guys work with us. I don't know. That's kind of funny. Anyway, but I'm just giving you an FYI. So I will reach back to like Gary and some of your other partners to figure out what you want to do with that money as a community. Some of the other counties are doing drug take back. Some of them are using for training for their officers. So this just kind of situational because they told me that we haven't gotten the checks and I have to get the plans in. So any questions on that real quick? Okay. And maybe let Gary know as I'll reach back. I'm primarily Gary, but it can be the schools. It can be anybody that's in the community for the opioid settlement dollars. All right. So the cover letter is basically we need a quorum at our August 13th meeting. So at least 3 of you need to come and represent your county to get a vote. And that will be at the health unit at on the 13th at 6 p.m. Not a lot of change in our budget from last year. I am able to hold even for the, I don't know, 4th or 5th year on the mill levy request. I'm trying to be very diligent and do my due diligence funding I asked for the counties and the mill levy. Although after hearing that property tax might go away, I should have asked for a whole lot more. Because whatever our ask is, if property tax goes away, that's what we're going to get forever. So if you look on page 1, the very top line, there are X's there because I tell you what we get without mill levy dollars. And then the 3rd page shows you what we need to have, why we have to have our mill levy dollars in the request. I'm able to hold even one more year at the 1,575,000. And again, that varies about hold even, meaning it's based on the 8 county property values. The auditors get together, they do a formula, they send it back to me based on property values. Yours might go up a little bit, another county might go down or vice versa. But the overall request, I'm asking the same. No real changes from state aid or anything that's coming in from the state. 28 of us health units have put in a budget request for an increase to our state aid. I'm not very hopeful. We will be at the Capitol trying to encourage that. State aid part of our budget is only about 5 to 6%, whereas the counties is anywhere from 35 to 45%. So counties absolutely put in a lot more money. Although we don't want a lot of state control either, so we have to kind of balance that out. But we will be asking for an increase. I'm not optimistic because Governor Burgum wants a 3% decrease across the budget, but we're still going to try. The reason I'm able to hold even basically is if you look under line 38, and I'm not sure why I don't have numbers, but anyway, you'll see EPR, Crisis Workforce Grant, Preventative Grant, Immunization Grant, Workforce Grant, FIG. So the EPR Crisis Workforce Grant is getting extended a few more months. The grant is pretty much used up, but I'll have a little bit. That was put into place with COVID. That was to hire additional workforce. I was able to hire 3, I was actually able to hire 4 people with that for emergency preparedness. 1 went on to be full-time National Guard. The other 3, and when I hired them under this grant, I always hire people with the intention that they cross-train in other areas. So if a grant goes away, they've been cross-trained in another area, they can fulfill without hiring additional people. So I'm able to keep those individuals, the 3 of them, with that funding, and not the 30,000, but additional funding, as I'll talk about. The preventative grant is done. We will not get that one again, but we did get 2 additional grants. One is the immunization grant, previously known as the COVID immunization grant. Now it's overall immunizations, trying to increase immunization rates for all ages and all types of vaccine. That was given to us was $215,000. That will go through 2025. And we don't know where things are going to be with, politics and new leaders or old leaders. We don't know where all that's going to go. So some of that may change going into 26. The workforce grant, the FIG, is the Public Health Infrastructure Grant. This is a 5-year grant. We're in year 3. I've not had to use that money yet because I've used other funding. And so that will carry us over into 2025 and maybe even part of 2026. Again, based on some of that. With that, if you look at our federal grants, they're up a little bit, about $40,000. And so I'm able to kind of still hold even in that realm. If you go down to consumer fees on line 48, it is up a little bit. And part of that is we have had to now charge or purchase and charge more for additional vaccines that have come out, meaning COVID and RSV. So anytime there's new vaccines that are available, we went from the things being free to now we're purchasing them. And so that is an increase of revenue as well, because now we're able to charge insurance for those. So if you turn to page 2 and you look at line 103, our actual cost of vaccines goes up because now we have to purchase all of those that used to be free. But our reimbursement, we're able to ask for more reimbursement. It looks like we're running in the red with that, with vaccines in versus vaccines out, but that is just our cost of vaccine. With the immunization grant, that covers salaries. It does not, we can't purchase vaccine with grants. So that's where the difference comes in there. Donations are up a little bit. People are being able to donate a little bit, primarily in health maintenance, whereas a lot of your county, the county nurses are in every little town. And so they've been able to do a lot more of that since COVID. If you look at down on line 59, our Medicare receipts are also up. That is in part, we've been able, local public health was only able to just get reimbursement for certain types of insurances. We are now being able to get reimbursement for some of the new Medicare Advantage programs. So that's a big win for us. And so that also helps balance that vaccine in and out. So our other revenue is up, and $2,551,000 is without mill levy dollars. If you turn to page 3 and you look at the budget on 2025, the $2,551,000 with the $1,575,000 gives us a cash in of $4,126,000. So it's up from last year, $3,009,000. But so our cash in is going to be up a little bit as well as our cash out. We're still going to balance okay. Any questions so far on revenue? I talk fast. I have to go to Slow County after this. I told the sheriffs I wouldn't speed. Anyway, we'll be fine. Okay, if you turn to the cash out or the disbursements, if you look kind of on line 96 and you kind of look at all personnel costs. So what this is, I have increased salaries a bit based on, if we'll do raises. Insurance, I didn't increase. I've increased the ND PERS and FICA and all that stuff I've increased. Upper Missouri District Health Unit, we get a grant. They that line item of 100,000 is we get the money in, we just pay them back. So that's kind of cash in, cash out. The contract staff and audit. What I want you to look at is line 96. So our personnel overall is up quite a bit, but part of that is going to come into play as I don't know how much insurance is going to go up. Every 2 years, insurance seems to go up. If insurance goes up a lot, then staff get less raises because they understand that part of their salary is they get their full insurance. I also don't know what else they're going to do with ND PERS. So what I really do is I look at the bottom line of all personnel, whether it's fringe or salary, and as I get more direction, if insurance doesn't increase that much, then they'll get a salary, a raise that's bigger than, and not a huge raise. We don't ever get to give big raises, but that's the big difference in the personnel line item. The only other thing that's really a big change, I did up travel. Because our nurses are able to travel more within the counties, again, going to every little town that's there, and we have other staff that drive in, and per diem has gone up to 67 cents. I have increased travel again. The biggest increase on line 108, total supplies. Part of that is everything's costing more money. But the other side of that is we're also having to purchase more vaccine as cost. Not a lot of change in building expenses or communication. Insurance is going up. I don't know if you got the word that NDIRF is going up quite a bit. Ours went up $2,000. So it did go up. Equipment, part of the equipment is we have to convert over to Windows 11. So part of that's a little bit, some of that we can budget out to some of the grants or people under the grants. But I also need a new autoclave in the lab. We do a lot of, for our water testing, but also we do a lot of autoclaving of sharps containers and such for community members. So basically operations is up a little bit. But primarily that's vaccine, a little bit of salaries and that. So I've been able to hold pretty even. Go back to page 3. So if you look at cash in, cash out, what we expect, we're going to be in the black about $30,000. That is probably a little low. Every year we end up having a little bit, a little bit more. So if you turn to page 4, this shows at the end of 2023 on line 32, we had 146,000 that came in. I think we thought we were going to be like about 20,000. So we were able to get a little bit more. We are also estimating at the end of 2024 about 200,000. And then without the mill levy, we would be about 1,368,000. We could not function. So any questions on that? Page 5 is something the auditors always look at, justification for why I'm asking for the 1,575,000. As I talk really fast, so brain cells are flying. Again, this covers all services, not just nursing. Kevin told me that he did almost 200 services to Dunn County, just the environmental health department. We're doing more with opioids. We're doing more with all the different things that are there. So it covers all the gamuts of public health. I've either dumbfounded you or put you to sleep. One of the two. Thank you for having Denise on the board. She represents your county very much. And she comes to all the meetings. She's also our treasurer. So she does a good job. No questions. Have to have 3 of you there.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Have a good 4th.
Yeah, thank you for
You too.
Thanks, guys. Well, hi. I looked them up for you. They're just, they're not.
We get how much our mill levy is for that? Did they give us a copy of what we gotta pay for mill levy? How much?
Oh, we haven't got it all yet. Okay, we'll take a 10-minute break.
just in time.
Oh. What?
Should we have got that letter from the state's attorney? Do we have it already? Yeah, Ross has.
No,
Oh, shit. I didn't see I'm the only one that got it. Yeah. I didn't look at that part.
I got it. No, I didn't get it.
I got it now.
No, I wouldn't bring it.
Not till we have hands. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys saw it. I will forward. Okay.
Yeah, don't bring it. Don't do that today.
I was like,
We don't have a quick summer.
okay. I meant to present it to us. I didn't mean action on it,
Oh.
but I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yeah, when that came up. 145, I think.
Oh, good catch. I was thinking about that. Sure. We'll check that thing. Not sure where she got that. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
This way you don't have to do the talking.
Yep, and he lives in Dunn County, so he can be your next Dunn County commissioner.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot to say all the time. Hi, my name is Darianne Johnson. I am the director of the Domestic Violence Center in Dickinson. I have been there for 23 years.
I'm Heather Ingman. I'm assistant director and case manager. Domestic violence, I've been there for 14 years.
We've been very lucky in that during COVID and while most of the agencies were losing their staff, we were able to retain ours. And so we're very happy about that. I don't know how much you want me to say about things. I know that I asked for a lot of money. I'm hoping that you will reconsider the $30,000 that we did not receive last year because we did not come. There was a miscommunication. And then consider $30,000 for this year. And I asked for $5,000 in addition to that. Now, if you want to give us like 25,000, that would be great. But we did lose our VOCA grant. Not lose it. We are getting half of our VOCA grant, which covers most of the salaries for the staff. We are looking at if we cannot make up that loss, that we may end up having to terminate a position. The VOCA is Victims of Crime Assistance. And believe it or not, COVID is, I think, going to haunt us forever. The reason that our VOCA grant got cut in half is because as the trials got moved forward and forward and forward and forward, the money was not given for the perpetrators when they paid their restitution. And so that is what is causing the VOCA grant to be so low. They're hoping that they will be able to go to the legislature and possibly get a fix for next year. We're not sure how that's going to go. I have written two $75,000 grants to try to cover whatever I can cover. But as grants go, you write a grant, you wait 6 to 8 months to find out if you get it. So that is kind of where we sit right now. I know in the application that I sent you, I gave you the number of people that we served from Dunn County. It is really hard for us to give you a budget because it depends on what your people need. Now, last year we had one family that stayed for 101 days. When you take a look at that, that's a lot of money. We provide food, we provide necessities, we provide case management, we provide transportation if they do not have any, we provide gas cards if they need them, if they do have their own vehicle. And so every year is a little bit different when we come. It all depends on who we help. Now, if someone comes to get a protection order, for instance, that is going to take staff time to help do the protection order, go to court, go through the court system, and follow them through all of that. We also will follow them through if there's divorce or anything like that, or child abuse and visitation center issues that they need to do. I guess the best way to say what we do is we do everything. We try to do whatever a client needs us to do in order to help them become self-sufficient. We will help them find an apartment, whether it's here in Dunn County or whether it's in Dickinson. I mean, we try to do what they are interested in doing. We don't tell them what to do. We help them.
The dollar amount you're asked, or in the application, you're asking for 65,000? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Darien, what was the amount that you're short because of the funding? What was?
75,000.
Okay.
But your 30,000 is already in our budget, as we would get 30,000. So I would love to say that 65,000 would almost take care of the 75,000, but the 30,000 is already budgeted in our budget.
Mm-hmm.
65's up and above the 30.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think in light of the situation, and that it got overlooked last year, I would move that we would donate or contribute 100,000 to domestic violence out of our federal mineral royalty fund, which is for public facilities or services. And I think this more than qualifies under that.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Dalzell, second by Commissioner Pelton to approve $100,000 to go to domestic violence and the rape crisis center out of the federal mineral
Mhm.
money for the public service.
Public services, yeah.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one question. So with this property tax that's going to go on the ballot, how's that going to impact your agency?
I talked to Karen Richard from the office in Dickinson,
Mhm.
and she's very worried that it's going to affect us immensely. That will hurt us again because Stark County doesn't come close to you. I'll tell you that. And but the amount they do give us pays for one of the salaries at the visitation center. So then our visitation center will be in jeopardy.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? And more?
I was like, the one thing that I would like to relay to you guys, because I think, you know, what we do, what we do on a daily basis, you don't always hear the good that comes from it. But the one thing that I really do want to relay to you guys is your law enforcement in Dunn County, your sheriff's department and your police department up in Killdeer. Within the last year, I cannot even begin to explain to you the support that they've given to us. You had a law enforcement officer from Killdeer PD who we had a victim in transportation was the issue, and out of his own bank account went and withdrew money in order to get her gas to get safe. So when I say your law enforcement has done remarkable things over the last year, I feel like you guys truly do need to know that you guys have an amazing law enforcement for Dunn County, both the sheriff's department and Killdeer PD. So
Thank you.
and you guys don't get always the good that comes from it. So you guys, hope you guys really do know that your law enforcement's doing amazing.
Stop out and tell them to. They need to hear it.
Yeah. We just met the young man that did this when we went up to Killdeer last week. And I mean, he's phenomenal and really gets it. And we told him how thankful we were. This woman would not be where she is today if it had not been for him giving her the money to be able to get to safety.
Yep.
Yeah. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, I think this is a very helpful cause. I guess I'd like to amend this to 150,000. If you're all right with that, because I just think.
Is there a second?
Oh, I'll second that.
Amendment made by Commissioner Kleeman, seconded by Commissioner Dalzell to add an additional $50,000. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote on the amendment.
Commissioner Marsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Dalzell,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Biener.
Yes, motion carried. Now on to the original motion of the $100,000
As amended.
as amended.
Mhm.
Is there any discussion? there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Marsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beener?
Yes, motion carried. Hopefully that helped.
I truly don't know what to say. Other than in 23 years, Dunn County has always backed us. And I cannot thank you enough or tell you how much we appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for all
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Happy 4th. See, he's happy too.
He didn't have much to say. I think he was.
What he said was good.
Yeah, Jorgensen section line.
Hello.
Hi here.
Hello.
Third time to try,
Yeah.
right?
Hi.
All right. Well, just to reiterate again, Christina Wenko with Macoff Kellogg here on behalf of Mr. Jorgensen. We convened a few weeks ago, and at that time, there was some discussion as to whether BLM wanted to weigh in on the request from Mr. Jorgensen. I did have a conversation with BLM representatives, and I do believe that they've also submitted a letter. My understanding is that they are not in opposition of the section line encroachment, and they will be working through any trespass issues with Mr. Jorgensen privately without Dunn County's involvement. So we would just request that his request for his section line enclosure be approved.
Does BLM have anything to add?
There's some concern about closing the section line, access, understanding that there's, limited access, But
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the encroachment permit for Mr. Jorgensen's application.
Okay. There's a second. Motion made by Commissioner Dalzell, second by Commissioner Kleeman to approve the section line encroachment. Do you want to add the section line, the street on it?
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
I don't have it in front of me.
It is,
13,
it's
14.
located at Township 148 North, Range 96 West, Section 8, the northeast quarter, Section 9, the north half of the northwest quarter.
What she said.
Yeah, we have the paperwork.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we,
Yeah.
make sure that's clear.
So that's it.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time and consideration.
Yep.
Thank
Thank you.
Sandy?
Thank the BLM for coming up.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here on behalf of 911. Every 2 years, the Department of Emergency Services evaluates or looks at what fees we are paying, and usually they're increased. So we had our meeting, and they are going to increase in July of 2025, 20 cents a line. So I just need, they need a MOU signed by the chair stating that we will increase the fees 20 cents. So it'll go from 139 to 159. I did, in my budget, I did budget for 23 cents, and I talked to Sally and she said, just leave it at 23 cents just in case there's something, but it will go up to 159.
Is there any discussion?
Motion to approve, I guess.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kleeman, second by Commissioner Marsh to approve the MOU with the 911. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. I sign here and print here.
Just don't put sign here and
You. Sally, when you have time, you want to talk about the audit?
We got our annual audit back and it went very well. There was no findings. The audit will, they will turn our audit into the state and the government for us. We don't have to do that. It's an annual audit that we have. They really had nothing but good things to say. They really appreciated all of our processes and procedures that we have in place. Just nothing really at all that they had to say bad. Everything went very well this year.
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, about the general fund transfers?
Okay, so I'll find my sheet. Okay, so these transfers were already in the budget for this year for 2024, but I just wanted to make you guys aware. I do at this time want to transfer to the JDA. We had in the budget to transfer them $127,000 from the general budget to help with their annual budget. Same thing with the Veteran Service Office. We had $20,000 in the budget to help them out and cover their yearly budget. And then emergency manager, we had $75,000 in the general budget to transfer to them. With those three departments, it's a total of $222,000 to be transferred from the general fund to the JDA Veteran Services and Emergency Manager Fund. And again, those were already in the budget. We built it in.
I think it's good to, Mr. Chairman, I think it's good to acknowledge the transfer, just so it's a record. Sometimes the auditors, look at for the motion. You can budget, but you don't always spend it. So I think, so I guess with that, I would move to approve the 222,000 budget transfers as Sally presented.
There's a second. Motion made by Commissioner Dalzell, seconded by Commissioner Pelton to approve the 222,000, the number. Okay, budget transfer. Okay, is there any discussion? Any discussion? Here, let's do roll call.
Commissioner Marsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Dalzell?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton? Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beer?
Yes, motion carried. Okay. Then we have the MOU with the NDSU extension.
So, we haven't done a MOU with them in a while, but it's for the stipends for the extension agents. This would be both for Kirsten and Chris Larson. So I gave you guys all a copy of the agreement. I think I emailed it and gave you guys a copy. The only change, so we split their salaries 50-50, half between us and half between NDSU. But the only difference that they would like to do this year is we've been giving them a stipend, as you guys know, to bring them up to what they would make if they were an actual Dunn County employee. And what NDSU would like to do to make that much cleaner and clearer is add that to the stipend amount. So they would actually pay them and then bill us for that stipend amount. And every December, we would, of course, go through that again to see what it would be to bring them up, give them the COLA increase. So I would get with Desi every December, and then I would get with Jim Gray, and we would ensure that that amount is correct according to our pay scale. So not only would they be billing us for the 50-50 that we already have as a contractual agreement between the county, but they want to add the stipend amount in that. And it just makes it cleaner. They would pay them and they would get it would be a tax and that kind of thing on their side, whereas now it's not on our side.
So Sally, I think to clarify, right now, they actually send you a request for the amount.
Yes, yep. So actually right now, the both of the extension agents bring us a voucher and we pay
Correct.
them that way. So it's not even out of a salary. They get a 1099. So it might hurt them a little bit at the end of the year with taxes. This would be better for them as well as making it cleaner for the county.
So, Mr. Chairman, Sally, is the extension, Jim Gray, are they okay with what we pay
Yes.
the extra? Because that was kind of an issue
Yeah,
before where we kind of circumvented the extension. It didn't go through their actual budget
right.
that to bring them up to par with our employees.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, so Jim, we discussed this actually prior to Chris, and they went back to their to NDSU and had that discussion as far as going back to, because initially, I think when was this, in 2020, we did have an MOU with them, and then they decided not to do it that way. But further discussion with NDSU, they prefer to go back to this MOU instead of the way we were doing the stipends.
They were totally against the stipend for a while.
Yeah.
Right. But they understand with the cost of living. So they've come to a realization that in order to keep people here, that's what we have to do.
And more counties are doing the stipend too. We're not one of the only
Right.
ones anymore.
McKinsey does the same.
I think there's 20 now that
Right.
do a stipend
Wow.
for their agents. So
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize the chairman to sign a MOU with the extension service for stipends for the two agents.
Right. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Dalzell, second by Commissioner Marsh to approve the MOU with the extension for the salary stipend. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Could you do the financial report,
Yep.
please?
sure can. Okay, so the ending June bank balances. In Bravera, we have 48 million. In First International, we have 791,000. Payroll in an out account, but we have $1 million in there. The Bravera DDM account is doing very well again. We're at 20,427,000. So basically over a year, we've got $427,000 in interest in that account. Because we started out with 5, then we went to 10, now we're at 20. So that's a pretty good amount in that account. CDs, we still have invested 56 million. That's a little bit off because we reinvested some of the interest. So we're looking at right now an ending balance in June at 127 million. For the oil and gas, I think we're going to be quite a bit over on that one. I projected 30 million for oil and gas, but already at June, we're at almost 24 million. So with 6 months left to go, I think we'll probably be over if it continues to go the way it is. I bet we'll be over at least 10 million on oil and gas this year. So we're already at 79.94% of what we budgeted and receiving. So I think it's just hard to tell, especially in presidential years. Usually it kind of goes down a little bit, but this year for some reason it's gone up. So we've been getting roughly 4 million a month from our state oil and gas rather than the 2.5 or 3 million.
Are there any questions? Thank you. St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church, are you waiting for anybody else if we go early? Okay, if you want to come up.
I'm Kurt Pavlicek. This is Gerald Ladelka. We're parish council member. A couple of years ago, we started the process of raising some money to rebuild a steeple. We had a couple of bids. One bid was about a little over 37,000. Fix the steeple. Another bid was 40,000. And the major cost of the bids being so high is the lift to get up to the height of the steeple. In the 80s, the church was placed on the National Register of Historic Places. So it's a historical church. It's very old. It's maybe one of the oldest churches in the county. It was built in 1917, and the parish got started in 1898. So it has a long history. So we raised a little over $20,000 so far of the cost. So we're going to need some extra funds, and we're wondering if the county would be available to help.
That 37, that'll cover everything.
That should cover everything.
Won't be no more hidden costs that you want to.
Mr. Chairman.
I hope it's going to cover it. And I guess it just depends once they start tearing apart the top of the steeple, how much rotting is in there, but that's what they quoted us 37,700.
Craig, after looking at this, I think I would ask that we would table this and have a conversation with the state's attorney about providing funds to a organization, the Catholic organization. I just want to make sure that we're not doing something that's probably not.
We're not supposed to.
Yeah. So I would ask.
That's a motion to table it.
So, go ahead. Just discussion. Just something I thought about. And
sorry to interrupt. Is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, we need to get a second before we open it up for discussion. There's a second.
I guess I'd second it for more information.
Motion made by Commissioner Marsh, seconded by Commissioner Kleeman to table the application for the St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church. Okay, now.
Okay, so under the federal mineral royalties money we get, the money can be used for public services, public facilities, public or private is the way it's read. So I guess that's just, I'm not against tabling it, but I think, and it'd be a discussion for the state's attorney, but we're allowed a lot of leeway under that section of law. It's in chapter 15 of the Century Code. But
chapter 15.
Yeah, I think it initially, that's the school law, but that's where it is.
And I just want to make sure that we're okay to do that.
I think it's a good idea. We look into it
take
a little bit.
Couple weeks and look at it.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carried.
We'll
We'll bring it back at the next meeting.
July 17th.
Yeah, we just need to verify whether or not those funds can be expended that way.
Thank you for
Thanks for
coming
coming.
Thank you.
Bills. Yeah. Bills. Did Ross have anything to say? Or I mean, is here for anything?
Bob, you're supposed to study that one, give us a report next time.
You just hand this down to Sally.
Ellie, do you know what that additional premium endorsement is for?
That is for one of the new vehicles.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so that's the yearly for the new vehicle. Just so you guys know too, the one above the Farmers Union Commercial Property Premium, state fire and tornado went up by, I want to say it was 35% this year. So, yeah, so that's a big one
Well,
on
that's
there.
what it was mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Sherry's
Yes.
presentation,
Yeah,
insurance.
insurance went up a lot. Yeah, it was, I want to say 35%. I have the letter, but yeah, it was a
Well,
huge
and
chunk.
Part of it, I don't know if the new road shop, I mean, a full year.
Those all,
That's,
here we increased the, because we didn't have enough coverage on this building. We didn't have enough coverage on the Manning shop, so we kind of, and then we redid, Halliday. So those all kind of boosted up. But this one here in particular is just for the fire and tornado. And then the other coverages we get billed for in February. But it's quite a bit this year, so I had to add that into our 25 budget. So for sure, that's going to be quite a bit bigger.
that MOU tape.
DSU.
I signed that one.
Does it go into
It
effect?
goes, so this will go into effect, August 1st.
Oh, okay.
And then, that they'll start billing us the
Okay. 'Cause they-
stipends and the.
Got it.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the list of vouchers.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Dalzell, seconded by Commissioner Pelton to approve the vouchers. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Marsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Dalzell,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton.
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yeah.
Commissioner Beaton.
Yes, motion carried. There's nothing else. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.